Okay, we are recording. Hi. Okay, so this is the preference training. When it comes to this training, I want all phones down on the ground. All phones. I know. If you like to fidget, I get it. If you're falling asleep, you can stand up in the back and watch. But I need all attention. I need everyone to zero in with me because it'll get technical, okay? Okay, let's talk preference. Let's talk selections. On the agenda for this last training, we'll do a schedule overview. We've seen some of this slides before during the orientation. Terms to know, the membership recruitment acceptance binding agreement, a read a script that's mandatory from NPC, roles expectations, advice. Any questions you have at the end. Schedule overview. Okay, so tonight is preference. Woo! Woot! Yes. Yay! We have max of 2 chapters you can attend. Again, not everyone's going to see 2, and that's perfectly fine. We'll see later how that kind of makes it easier for folks making decisions. Training for the FSPN, we're not doing that right now. Notify any complete release PNMs. We've already notified those PNMs this mornings, and so if you maximize your options this evening, y'all could be with a chapter tomorrow, right? Ooh, exciting. We'll talk about maximizing in just a second. But yeah, you have the option tonight to kind of decide how tomorrow looks like. Schedule to distribute on hall floors starting at 3:30. The withdrawal window, this information, I'm sorry, it's out of date. The withdrawal window is from 3 to 5. 3 to 5, okay? 3 to 5 in this building. Something to note, if we go to our party tonight and we do want to withdraw, you still have to come to Jim Thorpe, okay? Come to Jim Thorpe, you make your selections at Jim Thorpe. I know you're not making selections, but it's a part of the Maraba, it's a part of the script and the options you can make tonight to withdraw, okay? You have to come here. All right, so selections at Jim Thorpe, what does that look like? We're signing the Maraba, the membership recruitment acceptance binding agreement. Here's our expectations. After your last party is completed this evening, you will head to this building. You'll go in through those front doors as we've been using, and you're gonna see Pan Exec at a table. We're in the black shirts today, and they're gonna give you a blank Maraba, okay? You go inside with a golf little pencil, little tiny, you fill it out, you find a seat, all phones, communication, talking, everything has to end when you get inside this room. You cannot use your phone until you are ready. You'll fill out the form front and back. And then what you'll do after it's completed, you'll raise your hand and wait for an OU staff member to come up to you. No students, Pan Exec, ROEMs, no one is allowed in this room once selections have started for preference round, because all of this is confidential. It stays between you and a staff member, right? And even then, we are here to help you into your selections. We're not making your selections for you, okay? If you need to talk it out, we have specific people in the room for that reason. We've been doing this for years. We've been helping our PNMs navigate this process at night. So if you have questions, we're people in the room that can help answer them. And if not, if you get really technical questions, I'm always there to help answer them as well, okay? So if you need to talk it out, we've got some fabulous staff members coming here. We love to support OU Panhellenic in this time. So don't talk to others, PNMs, family members, etc. Don't talk while waiting in line. We do this not to be mean, but we do this because in the past, we've seen that when people are lining up, the chattering is just happening. And it's conversations of hey, we're all prepping this chapter, you should prep this one too. People trying to sway others with the decision that they want to make. Same thing when we're on the phone and talking to friends, families, or apparently, brothers, whatever that might be for you. And they're hey, you should prep this one over the other. We need to be empowered in this moment that this is your time to make this decision. This isn't anyone's decision to make, okay? It breaks my heart, and I think it's so dumb when I have a PNM shaking and crying, because tonight's gonna be emotional, right? You're gonna make a decision, you're gonna go to some really pretty ceremonies, they're gonna be crying, you're gonna be crying. Maybe it's okay if it's not your thing. But It's tough. Y'all are tired, we're exhausted, I get it. What kills me is when I have a PNM who's crying and saying, my best friend hates me if I'm not gonna prep their chapter. That's a terrible best friend, and you need to just leave them in the dust immediately, okay? We are here to support you and support the decision that you wanna make. I know people giggle about that, but it's so common. I'm like, sis, pick the one you want. It's stupid how common that is. So listen to your gut. We've been talking about this all week. Listen to that gut. Be completely invested tonight, okay? Be completely invested tonight. Again, only use that phone whenever we are raising our hand and that staff member is ready to then help you enter those selections. You sign the physical Morava, you also sign it, quote unquote, on the app as well, okay? Enter the code, all these things. You have until 10:30 p.m. If you're saying, what if I have a party that gets out at 10:05, you need to get here. I'm not going to be at the door at 10:29 saying, all right, you just got here, make this decision right now, like go. I'm not going to do that to you, but we cannot be waiting for you. I cannot have a friend just sitting outside refusing to come into the building because they're on their phone with their parent. No, that ain't happening. I'm inside, let's fill it out, let's go. Again, Panhellenic will give you that Morava, you'll come in here, all students are out of the room, only staff members, not time to call and check on and hear from our friends. Okay, that's the expectations for tonight. Now to go over like really technical terms as far as how does elections work with RFM, really figure methodology. So quota. If you watched my RFM training, this is a refresher for you. If you go through the technical jargon and the terms and you're like, that still did not like truly click, watch the RFM training that's in your Canvas class, okay? We've taken out the bid matching example because I think it just confused folks and made us kind of freak out on certain little things that happens with the bid matching example. If you should watch that tonight, okay? Watch it, it's helpful, it's broken down. For any parents, it's the same exact example we use during the parent family orientation trainings, right? So, quota. Quota is the number of bid cards signed divided by the number of chapters. So we take all the Moravas signed tonight and divide by 11 chapters here at OU. That is the number, that whatever number that is quota. Quota is the number that chapters are trying to match to for bid day, okay? So if there is a chapter that is below quota, they are SNAP bid eligible. Quota and SNAP bid go hand in hand, okay? We'll get into SNAP bidding in just a sec. But sometimes you might see on bid day that a chapter may have more chapter members or new members at their house than others. This is all thing called quota addition. No one's going to know if you're a quota addition. It's just how chapters have more people with them on bid day. And it's just because someone maximized their options and we've had to then get them into the chapter, okay? Again, that bid matching example during the RFM training will be very helpful. So SNAP bids, we briefly talked about SNAP bids on the previous slide. SNAP bids and quota go hand in hand, right? If a chapter does not match to quota, they are able to extend SNAP bids till they hit that number. Quota is the same for every chapter before I hit process. In my bid matching example, I use the example for 3 just because it's how it works on my screen. It's not going to be 3 here. But say we had a chapter and after bid day, after bid matching tonight, they had 2 matched PNMs, right? If quota was set to 3, they would be able to then extend 1 SNAP bid, all right? So it only for chapters who don't hit quota, and that's very rare, okay? People try to rely on, oh, I'll just get a SNAP bid. They kind of use it in the same way we talk about COB. Oh, I'll just get a call. It's entirely very rare, okay? It's very rare. It should not be something to bank on if you want to be a part of the organization. For SNAP bidding, it is completely managed by Panhellenic. If we have SNAP bid eligible chapters, I reach out to them and say, hey, we have this many spots to offer. please bring me a list of students, of eligible students that you would like for me to call. Eligible meaning they did not match to a chapter, okay? They withdrew, they were completely released, or they were an ISP unmatched. And we'll get into what that is. Basically, you are not matched and you know it that time, okay? So, snap bidding, Panhellenic calls people. We do so and we offer bids until 3 p.m. or until we hit quota for that chapter, okay? So again, in our example, quota is 3, that chapter has 1 spot to fill, they have 2. Until I get that 1 or until it hits 3 o'clock that day, that's how snap bidding works, right? It's calls from OU Pan. If you get a phone call from someone that's in a chapter saying, hey, this is blah, 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 I would like to offer you a COB bid. And it's like 1:30. That's an illegal bid. That's an illegal bid. It's someone kind of jumping the gun to offer a COB, okay? With COB, and at this point too, I figure it out who it is, and I make the chapter call you back and tell you, I'm sorry, we messed up. We'll get into COB in just a sec. I'm gonna keep going for a little bit. With total and COB go hand in hand, okay? Snap bid and quota go hand in hand. Those that don't match the quota can offer snap bids through Panhellenic making phone calls. Total, I reset campus total on bid day, and then I also do it 24 hours after the start of the spring semester. Total is the total number of new members and active members together, okay? So those that are recruiting and those who are new members tomorrow. I then reset campus total using a certain method per MPC. The method we've used historically is median or average chapter size, whichever is largest. I do not know what my total setting method is going to be for tomorrow. It could be that all chapters are eligible. Could be that we are using this same method right here. This is a change with MPC that historically it's been about 5 or 6 that are eligible because our total setting method is median or average, whichever is bigger, okay? Whatever method that is described or suggested to me is how I reset campus total. Those that fall below campus total, that number I find with the method, are eligible to offer COB bids up to that number, okay? So, again, there's certain methods to reset campus total. I don't know what the method is going to be. Historically, here at OU, it's been average or median, whichever is bigger. It's been hard to kind of prepare y'all and communicate for y'all for this year because I don't know what COB looks like. So when someone asks me, well, I'm going to drop out and do COB, I'm like, if I didn't know before how COB looks, I don't know how it's going to look right now, like even more, okay? So what we will do though, those that are COB eligible chapters, if you're a COB eligible chapter, does not mean you have to give out those bids to total. You're not required by OU Pan. It's encouraged, because why not? But we're gonna post who those chapters are on your Canvas class. And it's gonna say like big bold letters, here are the eligible but not required chapters, okay? Just as a chapter has to be eligible, a PNM also has to be eligible as well. So anyone who was unmatched from the process or didn't go through the process at all, right? Okay. We talked about COB. The big kicker about COB is starts at 4 o'clock on bid day. 4 o'clock is when bids are distributed. All these rules are set by MPC. I'm not just like kind of spitting out times for y'all, but the same time that bid distribution is happening at 4 p.m. tomorrow is the same time that chapters can call who are COB eligible. The chapter is not COB eligible. They cannot be offering bids over their number that they've been already reporting to me, okay? Only those that are COB eligible can make those phone calls at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. At 3 and earlier is OU Pan if we're snap bid eligible. If. Okay. COB? Are we feeling okay about SNAP-id and the difference that is between COB? Okay, cool. Now that we've talked some technical stuff, yes. Yeah.
So if we ISP a specific chapter tonight and we don't get that chapter, is it possible that Panhellenic can reach out to us with a SNAP-id from another chapter?
So that's a great question.
Yeah.
And I might go through, it might help answer it. I'm gonna go over that question to the group, okay? So the question was, if they ISP and they're unmatched, and we're gonna go over what ISP means and all these things just right now, and then Panhellenic calls them with a SNAP-id, is that a possibility? Yeah, it is, but I don't know if we're gonna be SNAP-id eligible. Because it's a great chance that all of our chapters are gonna hit quota. And that means no SNAP-ids. No one should be calling, Panhellenic's not gonna be calling, but COB does happen, but we just don't know how many are gonna be eligible and want to do it. But yeah, there's a lot of like questions that feel like you're kind of trying to predict the future almost of what's gonna happen tomorrow, which I just don't have that data, and you haven't made those selections yet. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the membership recruitment acceptance binding script. She's a doozy, so just stick with me. Pretty formal, and we're gonna break down again the options that you can make tonight, okay? All right. Okay. Congratulations. You have just completed the College Panhellenic primary recruitment process on campus, on this campus. At this time, you will be reading, signing and submitting a completed membership recruitment acceptance binding agreement necessary to receive an invitation of a membership, a bid, from a Panhellenic sorority. Please listen carefully as we review this agreement together and consider the following points before you complete the Marava. I am here to explain the Marava and the steps for submitting the agreement. I cannot assist you in your sorority selection. If you need more time or advice, your fraternity and sorority advisor, that's me, will provide support. Please read the Marava along with me as we review it. You'll be reading it tonight as you complete the document. First, the introduction is where you agree to the binding contract. This is a binding contract with the National Panhellenic Conference, NPC. You are choosing to complete this form because you participated in the primary membership recruitment process referred to throughout this Marava simply as recruitment. Next, part 1, withdrawing or continuing in recruitment. In this section, you may choose to withdraw from recruitment at this time or continue in recruitment. If you choose to withdraw, this means you will not join a sorority now, but you could join a sorority in the future by participating in the continuous open bidding process. COB. This future opportunities are not guaranteed and may not be available for all the sororities on campus. If you would like to withdraw from recruitment at this time, please initial on the line and move directly to part 5 and sign. If you choose to continue to participate in recruitment, you will initial the selection and move to part 2. Part 2, understanding the ranking process. In this section, you agree that each of the following statements is true. Okay. All right. You are willing to accept the bid from any sorority you list on the agreement. You will rank each sorority in order of your preference for receiving a bid, putting your first choice first. By writing down the name of the sorority at this time, you are agreeing to receive a bid from that sorority. This means you agree that if one of the sororities on your list, regardless of the first or second preference, extends you a bid, you are willing to accept it. Writing down a second preference, if applicable, does not increase your likelihood of membership into your first preference. If you attend a sorority's preference event and you will not accept a bid from that sorority, you do not have to rank that sorority. You do not have to list all the sororities that you are remaining choices. You do not have to list all the sororities that are your remaining choices. If you are certain you will not accept a bid from any of your remaining choices, you may choose to limit your choices. Limiting your choices will neither increase nor decrease your chances of receiving a bid to your first ranked selection. You understand if you choose to rank fewer sororities, you may not receive a bid through recruitment. Part 3, understanding the effect of submitting the Marava. After submitting this form, you cannot change your rankings. You cannot add or delete any sororities to your rankings. If you do not receive a bid from any sorority you ranked, you understand you are eligible to join a sorority later through the COB process. You understand that not all sororities will recruit through COB. If you do receive a bid from a sorority you ranked, but you choose not to accept that bid, you understand that you are not eligible to join any other sorority on this campus until the start of the next primary membership recruitment process. You will not be eligible to participate in COB if this opportunity is available. Part 4, ranking your preferences. In this section, please rank each sorority you are willing to receive a bid from in preference order. You only have the ability to rank a sorority whose preference event you attended. You should only rank a sorority you are willing to join. If you will not accept a bid from a sorority, you should not rank/write that sorority. We're almost done, okay? Part 5, signing the contract. In this section, you agree that you have read and understood the Maraba. By signing or submitting the Maraba, you agree to be bound by its terms. You have never been initiated into an NPC sorority. You understand that if you join an NPC sorority and you choose to become an initiated member of that sorority, you cannot join another NPC member organization regardless of the circumstances. Before you submit this binding agreement, please stop and ask any questions that you may still have. You should not sign this binding contract if you have any questions or need further explanations on any of the items listed above. You are agreeing to a binding contract. Once signed, you are agreeing that you understand each item listed. If you have any questions or need further support regarding your sorority selection, please ask questions of the fraternity and sorority advisor. This form is a binding agreement and cannot be changed once submitted. Whew, we made it. Yay. Oh, thank you, claps. That part always draining. Okay. Thank you. Y'all are my only group to like clap. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. So I just spit a lot of info at you, right? Let's break down what are your options tonight, okay? Options on preference. This is all mentioned in the Maraba, okay? Options. So you have 3 options this evening. Maximizing your options, guaranteeing you a bid to a chapter. This means I attended 2 chapters tonight, or I attended 1 chapter's event tonight. I list all or the one down. Let me start over. So I go in tonight and I have 2 chapters, right? Or I have 1 chapter. I go down and I write all possible chapters down. I'm maximizing my options. I am ranking both or ranking my one. I'm maximizing my options. I'm guaranteed a bid. You may not be guaranteed your first preferred chapter, right? If you have 2 this evening, you have 2 parties to attend, there's a chance you may not get your first preferred chapter, but you're going to get this Greek experience. You're going to be matched somewhere. You're going to have a bid day. You're going to have a new member of Greek experience. If you have 1 chapter tonight and you list that chapter down, you rest easy. You've maximized your options. You are guaranteed a bid to that chapter. We literally do like a little dance with you. We're like, yay, you know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay? ISP, intentional single preference. So this is for my folks that do have 2 chapters this evening, 2 chapters to attend their preference round. This student is coming in and saying, I want to intentionally single pref 1 chapter, okay? What this does is it takes you off of the list of the other organization. At that point, you've got to wish, hope, pray that you're high enough on that other chapter's list in order to be offered a bid. There's a great chance when you ISP, you're not going to be offered a bid because you are not maximizing your options. It does not guarantee you a bid tomorrow, okay? You may have heard it's called something else. It's called ISP, okay? It keeps getting louder. Intentional single preference. Yeah, I hear the word being whispered. We don't know people's experiences. We should not use that word, okay? Honor those that are in the room. Okay, our 3rd option is to withdraw. Again, we do have our withdrawal window. It starts at 3, ends at 5 o'clock, okay? Anyone who goes and attends an event tonight must still come to Jim Thorpe if you would like to withdraw. It's a part of the Maraba, it's a part of the document. You initial by the step that you want to withdraw, and we process you out of the system at that point, okay? Still have to come here. Okay, Maximizing your options guarantees you a bid. ISP, intentional single preference, does not guarantee you that bid. And then withdrawing. Okay, if a PNM visits 2 chapters on preference, they have the option to ISP, they have the option to maximize their option. Writing down both chapters they attended, right? Maximizing your options guarantees you that bid from that chapter for one of those chapters, excuse me, that you are now bound to that organization for a full calendar year, okay? Bound to that chapter for a full calendar year. It's a big misconception that you can decline a bid. Once you've been offered that bid, you are a new member to that organization. You cannot decline a bid. You've already signed that binding agreement the night before, okay? So when you if you're handed a bid card, you are now a new member. You can't just be like, I decline this and like walk away. You need to tell that chapter that you would like to drop. It's very rude to stand them up tomorrow. It's very rude. So please keep that in mind. If you are matched, you're not eligible for COB. If for Snap Bid Campus, you're not eligible for that, okay? You are matched to a chapter. Okay, ISP. I can't tell you that it doesn't happen that some people are offered a bid if they intentional single pref. It does happen. It's just a very, very, very low chance of that actually happening, okay? What happens tonight when you are filling out your card and we see one chapter listed? What's gonna happen is, again, we're gonna raise your hand and be ready for a staff member to come in and help you enter your selections. No one can just be entering them on their own tonight. And they're going to ask you if they see one chapter listed, how many chapters did you attend this evening? If you say, I had one, say, okay, we keep going, right? We're maximizing our options. If you say you had 2, but only one of them is listed, we're going to go through this kind of step with you. We're going to say, okay, do you understand your intentional single preferencing this chapter? Yes. Do you understand the risk that you are taking of ISP in this organization? Yes. Are you sure you want to do this? And if the answer is yes, then we say, okay. I never discourage if this is the decision you want to make. You're an adult, right? That's the decision you want to make. What I always ask students is like, okay, like, is your gut saying that this is correct, right? Are we understanding that we just may not be Greek? We may not get this opportunity because if we start to rely on COB, we've talked about how it is just harder to be offered a COB bid, right? It's not a bad process. It's not a bad thing. It's just harder because I don't know how many are going to be eligible tomorrow. And even then, they're going to have to want to offer that bid. So it's a possibility to be matched, but it is a risk. Does not match that chapter. At this point, if you ISP and you are not matched, think of the contract. The contract is void at that point, right? Because you're thinking, if I ISP and I didn't match, I signed my Marava last night, am I still bound? No, you're not bound to that chapter. That contract is void. We literally tear it up, and you are then an eligible PNM for COB, right? You're eligible. You are unmatched. The PNM visits one chapter on preference. They write that chapter down. Again, a little dance, and we say, have a great night, because we know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. They're going to go to that organization. Okay, this is just one last reminder right here. You are eligible if we are a Snap Bid eligible campus, if COB, if you withdraw at any point on preference before signing your Marava, right? Does make you still eligible to be contacted. We just want to make sure that you understand the low risk of that possibility happening. Okay. I've gone through some stuff. This is my time for questions. What are the questions that we have? I don't want to hear any twos too, that someone's like, if someone asks a question, because that, we all have 1,000 questions right now, and that's totally okay. And I will wait until we have at least 3 asked. Yeah, one in the back. I'm sorry? Like the financial commitments? Yeah, yeah. So if you are matched to a chapter tomorrow, yes, you are now a new member to that organization. There's no contract to be signed with that organization, but yeah, you are now a new member. It doesn't mean that money like completely comes out of your bank account, right? But I mean, okay, we're now a new member. We're gonna need to then sign some contracts and things like that with the national organization. Yeah. That's a very good question too. So this question was, it gets particular, so I'm sorry if I'm not able to fully. The question was, so say we're matched to an organization tomorrow, and about halfway through, like pre-initiation, yeah. So pre-initiation, they say, it's not my thing. I would like to withdraw, or not, excuse me, drop this organization. Do I still need to pay the financial commitments to that chapter? It's hard because that is all managed chapter to chapter, you know, but keep in mind, during those first couple of new member meetings, contracts are signed at that point, and there's a good chance you will have to complete the rest of that financial commitment for that year, okay? I'm not speaking for every organization. I don't know all of their contracts and everything like that, but it's a good thought to keep in mind as you're entering tonight. There are contracts you sign later on, to keep those in mind when you're thinking about making your decisions, okay? Ask the questions to these organizations, okay? Say, okay, what does this look like, right? I need to know just so I have a good idea going into this, all right? Yes. Yeah, you can call people while you're like on your way here. That's fine. I think I just park that because sometimes those conversations, like they try to sway you with what you want to do. I contacted my mom and I started crying unexpectedly, right? You can call people, that's fine. But just feel good with like, this is the decision I want to make and no one's gonna make it for me, right? Yeah, you can talk to them, but yeah. Any other questions at this moment? Yeah, what if I said, don't call your mom? I'd be breaking that rule in a second. Okay. One last thing. Oh, I know. Tonight's gonna be tough. I recognize it, and I can feel the energy in the room, right? If you need anything, I will be in this room buzzing around. I'm here for you. We're so excited for you. We have an option to be all matched to a chapter tomorrow, depending on guaranteeing your, maximizing your options, okay? Keep that in mind, and good luck. You got this, okay? Bye. Do you need to meet anywhere? Oh, good job.